You are welcome to the Messiah channel. We are an end time channel, and our message is focused today on end time mysteries, and this message is part one of a series of end time mysteries, and we are focusing our end time mysteries on United States. And today, part one, we are saying that USA is Babylon. United States of America is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. The Bible talks about end time nations, and Persia is mentioned. Persia is Iran, and Iran is there for a purpose. Iran will be part of the Ezekiel powers to invade Israel in the last days. Ethiopia is also there to fulfill the same purpose, and Libya is mentioned, Sudan is mentioned, and the city Damascus, the old city Damascus is still mentioned, and the destruction of Damascus is a sign of the end times as stated in Isaiah chapter 17 verse 1. We are focusing on United States, and I'm saying that the USA is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation, specifically Revelation chapter 18. As I'm doing this video, there is a bone of contention, and some people believe that the United States is not mentioned in the Bible at all. And by extension, they say if the US is not mentioned in the Bible, it means that the US is not Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. Some people are also saying that the US is mentioned in the Bible, and the US is Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. And that is my position. When I say that the US is Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation, I'm not saying that God told me the US is Babylon. I'm not saying that, but I'm going strictly by what is written in the Bible, and I'm also looking at the United States, the nation, the US, what the US is comprised of, and US role in the end times. And I'm saying that the United States is Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation chapter 18. When we look at the book of Revelation chapter 18, there are certain characteristics which fit the United States. For the purpose of time, I'm going over a few of them. Number one, Babylon is a nation that will be remembered by God. God will remember Babylon, and God will remember the iniquities committed by Babylon. We'll come to that in a minute. The second characteristics of Babylon is that Babylon is a commercial nation. It's a nation with a large amount of trade, and it's a nation that has commercial contact with merchants. And when you look at the United States, the US probably is the most globally involved in terms of commerce, in terms of trade. The United States is the hub of international trade. The US is probably the foremost commercial nation in the world. Forget about China. You have to remember that the rise of China is a recent phenomenon. The United States is a commercial nation, is a merchant that has economic tentacles spread over the continents in the world, and therefore the US fits Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. Number three, the United States is an arrogant nation, is very pompous, and the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation is an arrogant, pompous nation that believes that it cannot be destroyed, and nothing would border her, and that characteristic fits the United States. The United States is an arrogant nation, is very pompous, and the U.S. thinks that her constitution is superior to the Bible. The United States feels that it's superior and it has to lead the world, and it is infallible, it is untouchable, it is invincible. It cannot be defeated. And probably one of the reasons is because of its geographic insularity. The U.S. is surrounded by oceans, and it will be difficult to invade the nation. And no war has ever been fought on American territory. And so they believe that the United States is too big to fall. It is invincible. It cannot be defeated. Let me go over one of the characteristics I mentioned before, the characteristics of Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation, which fits America. And I'm saying that Babylon is a nation that will be remembered by God, and that will trigger the destruction of Babylon. And it is the fact that Babylon has committed iniquities, and God will remember her iniquities. And I'm saying that that description fits United States. God will destroy the United States, which is the Babylon, I believe, spoken of in the book of Revelation. And what are the iniquities that have been committed by the United States? God will remember what the United States did to Native Americans, whether you call it genocide, whether you call it annihilation. God will remember that iniquity. God will also remember America's role in the infamous transatlantic slave trade. That iniquity is very prophetic, because the enslavement of Africans was the enslavement of the children of Judah, who were scattered as a result of the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. They fled to various parts of Africa, particularly western part of Africa, and they lived in a place called the Kingdom of Judah. And I believe that when the enslavers were taking these people to be enslaved in America, they knew who their identity was. They knew that they were the children of Judah, and because they were taken from the Kingdom of Judah, which is in West Africa. So this iniquity God will remember. And when the book of Revelation says God will destroy Babylon because of her iniquities, the enslavement of the children of Judah, the children of Jacob, is one of the iniquities for which United States, the Babylon of our time, will be destroyed. As we are talking about the iniquities, you also have to remember the wars that have been fought by the United States. The United States has fought wars almost every century. The U.S. has fought wars, and almost every decade, and almost every year, the U.S. is engaged in some form of war, whether it is a low war or high war. And as a result of the wars, so many people have gone into captivity. Their lives have been destroyed. The environment has been destroyed. And some of these wars were fought without any justification at all. The recent example was the war against Iraq, as a result of false reports that Iraq was involved in the production of weapons of mass destruction, and this was a lie that was told even by Colin Powell, the U.S. Secretary of State. This lie was told to the United Nations, and it gave a false justification for Babylon America to attack Iraq and destroy her oil facilities and cause environmental mayhem in the Middle East. Some of the iniquities that Babylon America has committed involves assassination of leaders, and you can mention so many of them. The recent example include assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, the president or former president of Libya. All these atrocities will be remembered, and the U.S. as the Babylon of our time is conquering and has been conquering many nations. And as you are aware, the U.S. has the largest number of military bases than any country in the world. And I believe that the Lord will also remember the iniquity that the United States committed in 1945, setting a precedent for the use of horrific nuclear weapons on the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And so I believe that the United States is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. If you see the decree against Babylon, you will know that Babylon will be destroyed in 1 hour. It will be destroyed by fire. You also know that when Babylon is destroyed, the angels and the saints in heaven will be very, very happy. You also know that the United States, Babylon will be destroyed. It will be desolated. There will be desolation of Babylon. And when you're talking about desolation in the Bible, you remember Damascus will be destroyed and will be desolated. And when the Bible talks about desolation, another nation that is mentioned is Babylon. I believe is the United States, and the United States will be desolated. According to Revelation chapter 18, the U.S. will become the habitation of demons and demonic spirits, and nobody will live in the United States again. It will be utterly burned with fire. And you cannot read Revelation chapter 18 without concluding that it is the United States that fits the description more than any nation in the world. What is the implication when I say that the United States is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation? There are several implications. One, come out of her, my people. Revelation chapter 18 verse 4 says that you need to come out of Babylon. Coming out of Babylon is both physical and spiritual. And I believe that the Lord will not destroy Babylon, United States, when the saints are living there. The Lord will not destroy United States when the children of Jacob, when the children of Judah are still living in the United States. The United States may be damaged, may be destroyed to some extent. But when we're talking about the end time destruction of the United States with fire, where it will be desolated and nobody will be living there, and it will be inhabited by demons and demonic spirits, we're talking about one of the mysteries of heaven, and I call this part 1 of the mysteries of heaven. The United States is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. It is the nation that will lead the world into the tribulation. And the founding fathers of the United States planned that day, the day when United States will lead the world to the global tribulation spoken of in the book of Revelation. Why do I say that? I say that because the founding fathers of the United States planned that day. They planned the New World Order, Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin words written on the American dollar bill, meaning the New World Order. And from time to time, the leaders of America remind Americans about America's role in the New World Order. You remember in 1991, then President Bush reminded Americans about the need to initiate or to complete the New World Order. And as a result of that, the United States engaged in activities including wars in the Middle East. And in 2020, 2021, and 2022, under Joe Biden, you see that America is now in the final stages of the New World Order. President Biden himself said that America has to lead in the New World Order. America has to play the leading role in the New World Order. The New World Order is the last stage of the world order. When we say New World Order, it means the old world order is not good. The old order is abolished. God created the world. It is God's world order. And when Americans and their presidents talk about the New World Order, it is a blasphemous statement trying to redo what God did by creating a New World Order. It's a code word for the government of the Antichrist. The Americans and their leaders, and I would say the American leaders, are preparing for the New World Order. And Americans, a lot of them are not aware of that. They are not aware of the role that America will play in the end times. And they are not aware that America is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. The scripture is very clear that in the last days, Lucifer, Satan, will blind many people. They will have eyes, they will not see. They will have ears, they cannot hear. And they will read the Bible, but they will not understand it because they will be blinded by Satan for the ultimate thing to happen. That is the ultimate destruction of the United States, the Babylon of our time. And so this is part one of a series that I'm having on the United States, which fits end time Bible prophecy. And when I say that the United States is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation, there are so many implications. Psalm 9 verse 7 says that God will endure forever, and God has prepared his throne for judgment. And so you can see that in Revelation chapter 18, God will judge Babylon, United States. It will be a decree from heaven, and fire will come from heaven to destroy United States. And I believe that God has prepared a nation that will destroy the United States. And so the United States, I believe, is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. Psalm 9 verse 17 says that the wicked will be cast into hell, and the sinful nation will also be cast into hell. And I believe that there are so many iniquities that have been committed by the United States, and the United States will qualify as a sinful nation, a nation that has committed iniquities for which God will destroy it. And her destruction will be unique, and her destruction will be a lesson to all nations, because Babylon will be the nation that will have killed all the prophets of the world, or it will be the nation that will be responsible for all the prophets who died from the time of Abel to the time of Zacharias. So in conclusion, this is a message that the United States of America is the Babylon spoken of in the book of Revelation. It is an end time mystery, part one. Thank you, and expect part 2 of the message. Thank you.